I would want to firstly start by really apologizing for time. I had one of those days where it was just everything on top of the other. I just came back from a family of that deputy principal that was shot on Tuesday. Is it on Tuesday? He was shot while busy with the process and investigation in the school, in one of our schools. So he had gone to retrieve the evidence, the laptop that was stolen from him. And he never made it back to the school, and not at home as well. So this was a man of integrity, Deputy Principal Sipho Ntlengetho. And these are teachers that when you speak about Matthew Goniwe, you can speak about their names as well in these times. So I'd gone to just share our condolences with the family and really provide support. It's not easy. It's not easy. This was an educator who was committed, really, really, really committed. You know, to quote his son, he says, "Ubaba mbogo umuntu straight. Umuntu straight, angafuni into ezi wrong." That's how he describes his father. And for him to lose his life because there was of this case. But we have trust in the police, we have trust in our law enforcement, and we believe that the perpetrators will be apprehended soon, as soon as possible, because we can't allow that, especially in our schools or related to our schools. The program directors of the day, thank you very much. The Premier in absentia, but he did indicate that if time permits, he will make his way here. Our esteemed guest of honor and our keynote speaker, a veteran of our struggle for global justice and liberation, a former minister and current chairperson of the Nelson Mandela Foundation, Dr. Naledi Pandor, chairperson and board members of Matthew Goniwe, the senior leadership of the Department of Education, the Goniwe family present here, academics from various research centers, the CEO of Matthew Goniwe, Mahlangu, and the CEO of Saibono, Prof. Nzobi, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Sanbonani, Molweni, Tobela, Abshin, Nda, King, Mpere, Oliperi, Olperi. Let me start by firstly congratulating our team, Matthew Goniwe, which is the driving force behind this event, for the level of effort and care that clearly went into organizing this annual Matthew Goniwe Memorial Lecture under a befitting theme, challenges and opportunities for education transformation in contested contexts, and further to be delivered by an outstanding keynote speaker. The place for education in society has been a subject of debate since time immemorial. How we contribute to this debate is inextricably linked to what and for whom we believe education is for. Whatever the choice, the implications have often stretched well beyond the walls of our schools and universities, denoting the need for us to shoulder a lot more care and responsibility in the views we advocate for, the values we choose to promote or demote, the interest we choose to advance or overlook. As Marie Baptiste eloquently articulated in her work, Decolonizing Education, she said, nourishing the learning spirit. She said that education is inherently influenced by the cultural and societal frameworks from which it emerges. She notes further that education, like institutions and societies it derives from, it is neither culturally neutral nor fair. Education has its roots in patriarchal, Eurocentric society, complicit with multiple forms of oppression of women, sometimes men, children, minorities, and indigenous people. It is therefore what we do with education and not education in and of itself will inform the role in our context. The field of education, therefore, offers an ideal space to study the different and yet mutually reinforcing ways through which social injustice can be both advanced and resisted. Professor Moroala reminds us that the success of a developmental state will depend on our ability to unleash the full scientific, industrial, and creative capabilities of South African society. The fundamentals of this revolution must always be consistent with the aims of our developmental state, economic competitiveness, and societal well-being. Therefore, Mepando, as Gauteng, we know too well that a trained, capable, and industrial youthful population is a precondition to our prospects for any form of success. The Matthew Goniwe Memorial Lecture always serves as a stark reminder that without a more purposeful, measurable, and deliberate investment in young people's ideas, this continent, this country, and this province is headed nowhere slowly. Here at home and elsewhere in the world, education is up against a myriad of societal challenges. Poverty continues to be a moving target, worsened by a debt dilemma. According to the United Nations Development Programme, 52 countries, 40% of the developing world, are in serious debt trouble. Rather than default, some countries are having to trade off investment in health and education to the detriment of the current and future generation. Some 3.3 billion people now live in countries where debt interest payments exceed spending on health or education. In the words of Professor Guy Standing, says the 20th century income distribution system has broken down. Its collapse has given rise to a society consisting of millions of people facing unstable, insecure labor, a lack of occupational identity, declining and increasingly volatile real wages, loss of benefits, and chronic indebtedness. Our economies have become hostage to recurring financial crises, shocks, uncertainty, and lack of predictability. We know from the work of economists such as Thomas Piketty and Joseph Stiglitz that today the share of income going to the global 10% is now 38% higher than the average income to the bottom 50% of the population. Against this backdrop of deepening disparities, discontent, and distrust, democratic governments the world over, including ours, are at crossroads. The knock-on effects are being felt more acutely by the most vulnerable groups of our society. Program Director, this is what our education system is up against. Surely, with this background in mind, education can no longer be education for education purposes. In line with the teachings of Matthew Goniwe, this education has to serve a much higher purpose, that of a just, equitable, and humane society. Today, we reflect on Goniwe's impact that reached beyond the walls of classrooms and echoes through the corridors of our history. In Craddock, he led not just as an educator, but as an architect of a community, turning schools into spaces of liberation and empowerment. He awakened the minds of young people, showing them that knowledge is not only power, but a path to freedom. But Matthew Goniwe was not content with mere words. He moved with action. He understood that unity is strength, and that true change begins when communities rise together. He was a leader who inspired people to stand not as individuals, but as one force shaking the foundations of an unjust system. Lastly, here in Gauteng, our problems are many. The force of urbanization and its key drivers continue to shape both human and non-human activity in ways that can neither be avoided nor slowed down. As a result, 63% of the population already lives in urban areas, a figure that is expected to rise to 71% by 2030 and 80% by 2050. In other words, by 2050, 8 out of 10 South Africans will be living in urban areas. Our odds of achieving a livable, safe, resource-efficient, just, and equitable urban development are thus inextricably linked to the ability of our cities to anticipate, manage, and respond to urbanization trends, challenges, and opportunities. If we are to reindustrialize or beneficiate our resources, we need to carefully study the way our towns and cities are shaping up. In short, whether we are teaching agriculture, town planning, logistics, mining, manufacturing, IT, or related sectors, there is a need for a spatial response to the social, economic, and political realities of an increasingly urbanized Gauteng. Dr. Pando, through your life, we know that given half the chance, the girl child has an unlimited potential to excel in all areas of human endeavor. Any society worth its salt shall, therefore, double its investment in young women. As Gauteng, we will lead the way in this regard. An investment in young girls and women in general is, of course, an investment in all of society. You invest in a woman, you future-proof any nation. This year, one merely celebrating past achievements was setting the stage for the next generation. Our partnerships with Matthew Goniwe School of Leadership and Governance and other collaborators, they are catalysts for transformation, igniting excellence in our schools and communities. From expanding ICT programs to strengthening our focus on literacy, numeracy, and critical thinking skills, we are ensuring that no child is left behind. We are building not only schools, but future. In this milestone year, we reaffirmed our commitment to making education a pillar of equity and an opportunity for all. Each new classroom we build, each program we launch, and every support system we create is a promise, and a promise to our young people that their future is bright and their potential is limitless. And as we stand at this critical juncture, I'm reminded of the words of our former president, Thabo Mbeki, when he says, "It is small things that we do that will make big things happen." It is in this very lesson that we taught, every book we opened, every child is inspired, that we'll see the true power of our efforts unfold. Let us carry forward the torch led by Matthew Goniwe, embodying his spirit in our actions as we strive for a better, more equitable world. For that, I thank you. And it is on this note that I take this opportunity to call on someone who is no stranger to us all. Dr. Naledi Pandor is a South African former Minister of International Relations and Cooperation from 2019 to 2024. Dr. Pando became an MP in 1994, has amassed impressive experience in position of public office, including Deputy Chief Whip of the ANC in the National Assembly, and served as the Deputy Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces and its chairperson subsequently. Dr. Pando has a PhD from the University of Pretoria, of which I'm also an alumni. So, serious universities. An honorary doctorate from Cape Peninsula University of Technology, University of Stellenbosch, University of Lisbon in Portugal, and the University College of Dublin in Ireland. Upon being awarded Germany's highest federal award, the Grand Cross of Merit, the German ambassador to South Africa, Walter Lindner, said, "Dr. Pando is for us a symbol of the new South Africa, modern, innovative, dedicated to scientific progress, and also an outstanding female leadership." Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, may we rise to welcome our keynote speaker, Dr. Naledi Pandor.